Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Bolling. Welcome to Cashin In. Our Cashin In crew this week, Wayne Rogers, Jonathan Honig, Michelle Fields, and Jamu Green. Welcome, everybody. You just heard the director of the CDC saying they're stopping Ebola in its tracks. I got to say, do you trust the CDC that Ebola is being stopped in its tracks? Because I'm not buying what they're selling. Michelle, are you?
I'm not. Look, you can tell that we are not prepared. Just look at what happened in Texas. And to be honest, unfortunately, many of our hospitals are not good at containing pathogens. 75,000 Americans die a year from an infection that they get from the hospital. This person went into the hospital. He had all of the symptoms of Ebola. He said he was from Liberia. He might as well have a stamp on his head that says, I have Ebola, and they sent him home.
Exactly. And he sent him home. I'm not laughing. I'm saying they sent him home. And the family actually called and said, wait a minute. Why are you sending our family member home? He's very, very sick, and look what's happened so far. Jonathan, I think at one of these discussions, we've been on this Ebola thing for a couple of weeks now. One of these discussions, you said, don't worry, it won't come here. It's here.
Eric, one person has it. There's 325 million people in the country. I think it's a little bit of slightly hyperbolic to suggest that Ebola's here. I don't think it's here. I don't think it's actually going to be here. Where do epidemics occur? They occur in these tribal, mystical, unscientific third world countries, and they have for centuries. Here in the West, we're a little more conscious about sanitation, about the disposal of dead bodies. We rely on science, not faith, and that's why epidemics don't occur, and that's why I'm not worried about Ebola one bit.
Wayne, are you worried about Ebola? I mean, if we think about any disease, any pandemic, it starts with one and then it spreads.
Well, you know, I talked about it last week, and you guys heckled me for it, and I said it's more important than the ISIS crisis, and I disagree with what Jonathan just said. I mean, there are going to be mistakes made anytime you have a... By the way, we're talking about here life and death. Mm-hmm. You know, we're not talking about some measles or something like that. You're talking about people who are going to die very quickly. It's happened before. It could happen again. And yes, I do not trust anybody here. Because,
when does it happen in America?
You want to trust somebody
in America?
Let me finish.
When does it happen in America?
You want to trust the government? Just shut up a second. Do you want to trust the IRS? Do you want to trust Obama? Do you want to trust the government to help you do this? Not going to happen.
All right, hold on. Let me get Jamu in here. Jamu, Wayne points something out that's very important. I've heard President Obama say, don't worry about it. It's not going to happen here. I heard the CDC chief say, ain't going to happen here. I heard the hospital say, don't worry, we have this under control. I'm not sure we can trust anyone.
Well, Eric, instead of the blame game, we should come together and solve this problem. This is a disease that's been around since 1976, and especially on the #1 rated Saturday show on cable news, we should not be fear-mongering. What we should be worried about, everyone go out and get your flu shot.
You're right and wrong. Yes, we are the #1.
Thousands of people die from the flu every year.
Yes,
and when it comes to Ebola, why don't we make sure that the CDC's budget isn't cut like conservatives have been doing for the past few years? And this is America. We are resilient. If it comes to our shores, we will hear it.
All right, so here's the problem, Jamu. If you're calling it fear-mongering, I'm calling it, Michelle, I'm going to come back to you, an abundance of caution. Exercise an abundance of caution until we know exactly what we're dealing with. Michelle.
Absolutely. I mean, why not be safe than sorry? Look, the CDC says that they have it all under control. Well, look, a government agency can't even create a healthcare website. And I'm going to trust that a government agency can control Ebola? I'm not so sure I can.
And, John, what about the...
You know what we need? We need a surgeon general. We need a surgeon general in place who can talk to the American people.
You know what, Jamu? We need a government that's being honest to us.
The NRA. Republicans have not let us have a surgeon general for the past year.
We need a government that's being honest.
Doctor.
Jonathan, you know as well as I do, we've talked about this quite a bit. I don't trust them. Why all of a sudden so much trust that they have this under control? I'm baffled that you're buying into this.
Well, Eric, I mean, what I hear from you is skepticism. How can we know anything? How can we know that? What we know is that here in America, we think, we're modern, we advanced. I mean, my prediction is that you'll see, Wayne talks about all these people are dying. I think we're going to see less deaths from Ebola. Can I just make one point? We're going to see less deaths in Ebola, the entire scare, than we will from car accidents in one day in America. About 111 people killed every day in America from car accidents. This whole Ebola crisis, we're going to see less than
Hang in there. Wayne, I want to throw this to you. parents are keeping their kids home from school, this is important. This is something we need to note. Now, if we were to listen to the government, the CDC, the president, et cetera, the hospital, that wouldn't be happening. As a parent, I would be doing the exact same thing. What say you?
Well, I don't understand this whole thing about, for example, Jammu says about the Surgeon General. We don't need a Surgeon General to tell us something that is obvious to everybody. You want to put the head of the Secret Service. Let me finish. You want to put the head of the Secret Service in? You want to put the head of the IRS in? These are morons. You're going to appoint another moron to tell you what to do? This is a life and death situation. It's a medical situation. It's not a political problem. And it's a simple one that should be addressed in a simple fashion. Quarantine them, and that's it.
What the Surgeon General does. A trusted public health expert that can speak to the American people about
Are you kidding me?
And this is me. I'm someone who actually is Liberian.
Trusted?
Guys, hold on. We have the director of the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, telling us this wasn't going to happen, and it's happening. Guess what, though? We're going to talk about this a lot more. We're going to have to leave it right there right now.